Hi guys, welcome back. So the Lions won the first test. Bit of a comeback in the second half. It certainly wasn't all plain sailing. Plenty of mistakes. Plenty of good stuff as well. But it's a real mixed bag. When it comes to assessing and then selecting a team for the second test, there's lots of players that had very good bits and very poor bits. And there's an argument that when the Lions went to the kicking game better, when they went to the set piece better, the tight game better, they had more joy. I don't think they should throw away the handling either. They just need to put it all together. Now, there's a fair argument to change quite a lot of players because there were plenty of mistakes. But I think there's also a good argument to stick with a lot of combinations. This is a team that has not played together much. There were plenty of coordination mistakes. So some of those 50-50s I'm going to stick with. I'm going to change a few, certainly, because there weren't that many amazing performances, to be honest, overall. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys would do, how you'd assess the players, and what changes you would make. So, first of all, on the right of my screen there, you can see, or probably your left, you can see the team that started the first test, and then I'm going to go through what my second test team will be. Now, Sutherland in the front row, he was a late promotion into the 15, Wyn Jones injury. They struggled a bit in the scrum to start with, but then all the front rowers turned it around in the second half, which is the story of many. Now, if Wyn Jones gets himself fit, which it sounds like he will, I think he still starts. I still think he's been the best prop on tour, the best loose head. He starts. Now, does Sutherland go to the bench? Well, actually, Mako Vunipola came on and didn't budge an inch against the bomb squad and indeed won a vital penalty, and he was good round the loose as normal. So I think that performance from Mako absolutely deserves him to stay in the 23. So it's a bit tough on Sutherland, but I'm going to go back to Wyn Jones starting and Mako retains on the bench. I'll pop up the whole front row in a minute. Now at hooker, it's not an understatement to say that the Lions line out disintegrated at times in that first half. They pulled it back in the second half, and a good try for Luke Cowan-Dickie, but is it enough to retain his starting space? I don't think so. You could drop him altogether, but I still think he showed a lot of promise, and like I said, trying to keep those combinations together. But Owens came on, settled the ship. He's not as dynamic as Cowan-Dickie, but he is a much older head. He was making some good calls in the line out. So I think he gets the start, Cowan-Dickie on the bench. But I still hope we get to see George in the third test at some point. If you want to drop Cowan-Dickie completely, I probably understand that as well. Now, Tyg Furlong grew into the match. He gave that much-needed bulk and power, and the Lions started to really get going, match South Africa physically. I still think he stays as the starter, and Sinclair came on and added some excellent impact, exactly like we wanted. He came on when they were dominating the South African scrum. His impact on the loose was excellent. Definitely keep this combo going. I think it's working, so I'm very happy with that. So that is the front row, the changes I would make. So just bringing Wyn Jones back in and also swapping around Owens and Cowan-Dickie. Right, second row time. This is easy. Both second rows, really good games, okay? Maro Itoje started off a little bit dodgy, went very high into a tackle, got caught out, held up. Not a good start, but from then on, he really started rolling, and he's a guy that makes stuff happen. He definitely lives on the edge, and he's meant to, but he is so annoying. He was getting turnovers, mucking up ball, hitting counter-rucks, being just nasty and annoying. He's the man that makes big plays. He 100% stays, as does the captain, Alun Wyn Jones. They played the whole match, both of these guys, but Alun Wyn Jones to play the full 80 at test match intensity is absolutely unbelievable. Amazing fitness. Made a huge call as the captain to go to the corner early in the first half, and it came off with the try. So all your calls are good if they come off, of course. So those two easily retain their spots, plus they played the whole match. So that's nice and easy. So second row, stick with those two, Alun Wyn Jones as the captain. Into the back row, and as with many, Courtney Lord was a bit quiet in the first half, but really started to play as the game went on. Started to bring that physical edge to the carry, really high tackle rate, the lighthouse option in the back row as a third line-out jumper. So he absolutely retains his spot. We didn't see enough of Tyg Byrne to make a push for the start, even though I'm sure he'd do a great job. So I'll certainly keep those two as they are, Lord and then Byrne coming on. The interesting one is Curry and Watson. They both really have the same report. High energy, loads of enthusiasm, plenty of good stuff, but also that enthusiasm cost the team. Curry, a late shoulder barge springs to mind on Faf de Klerk. They lose a good 40 metres on that late tackle penalty, plus a few other things. Then Hamish Watson comes on and probably does something even slightly worse. He does a dump tackle, lifts the legs above the horizontal, only gives away a penalty. I thought that was absolutely going to be a yellow card. We were lucky there, so he could have cost the game there. Curry cost the Lions a bit as well, but both are good players. They're going to get better. I don't see any reason. You could swap them round, but on evidence of the game, I don't see a reason to. So I'm going to keep Curry at 7, Watson on the bench. Both a little fortunate, possibly. Both need to step it up, but I absolutely think they've got the quality to do that. And 8, Conan, actually I thought he looked the best carrier throughout the game. He was muscular, he made ground, he returned the kickoffs really well. Not a highlight reel, but I thought he matched them physically. You could bring in Faletau, you could bring in maybe Simmons on the bench or something, but I don't see any reason to. I think he retains his spot. So the back row, like it is, Laws 6, Curry 7, Conan 8, and just staying the same. There's reasons you could change, but I think there's more to stick. Anyway, let me know if you differ. Into the backs. Scrum half. Was Price going to be the weak link? No, he wasn't. Okay. Again, in the first half, not the best. The whole team wasn't the best. But as the game got on, his box kicks were fantastic. Those kick to contest box kicks were right on the money. Really getting some height and length on them just right. And a solid game. Murray came on. He was fine. But I think you'd just be swapping them around for the sake of swapping them around. Again, build the confidence, get the continuity, keep Price going. The one thing I think that maybe why I would have swapped Price out is he was, I think, at fault on South Africa's try when Peter Steph du Toit runs back to the loose pass. It's him and Anthony Watson who really could tackle Peter Steph du Toit. Watson decides to cover Mapimpi, who, Peter Steph du Toit could have scooped the ball up, not fallen on it, and passed the ball out to Mapimpi, and he'd have had a clear run in. So I think Watson thinks he has to cover that pass. Price could have tackled Peter Steph du Toit, and I've no idea why he didn't. There was just a real muck-up in communication there. That was a bit of comedy of errors. So that was maybe a reason to drop him, but I'm keeping him in place, building the confidence. Murray on the bench. Let me know if you swap him. Fly half. Similar sort of thing. I thought Bigger was actually fairly decent, grew into the game. Some excellent goal kicks, some poor. So, a bit of a mixed bag, but on the whole, not too bad. Again, keep that half-back combination of Price and Bigger. I think that's worth doing. Farrell came on, kicked a really important goal kick, but he still worries me. Everything else about his game is a bit slow. Looks like he'll get charged down at any moment. Decision making a bit slow. So I've lost faith in him. So I'm sticking with Marcus Smith on the bench. So those are my half-backs. Price, then Conor Murray, Bigger and Marcus Smith. On to the centres. Now, Henshaw, he was all energy all game. He really tried to take it to the South Africans, but he was swamped in that first half, as a lot of the team were, by the defensive excellence of South Africa. Certainly some errors. Most notably when he made that clean break and carried the ball a bit too loose. Really good tackle from LaRue, to be fair. But at times he was excellent as well. Summed up the Lions game. I would keep him in place, although not a perfect game. I think he's going to get better. Now the player I would change, I think it's pretty obvious that Elliot Daley had an absolute stinker. Loads of errors. His handling was actually pretty good, but it was the physicality we were looking out for, and he got absolutely munched early on by Am trying to move the ball. He tried to make some carries, but looked tentative. It looked like his confidence was shot. One awful non-ruck defence that he was just blasted out the way, so it's an easy one. He played himself out of the second test, I believe. Maybe they'll retain him as a utility back on the bench, but I don't think so. So he drops out. The guy who was super close to starting anyway, Harris, I think comes straight in. He won't be caught out physically. Do you lose a little bit of kicking and handling? Maybe. But the Lions, they need that solidity, and Harris is no mug in attack anyway. So Henshaw and Harris, I think, to start the second test for me. So there's the pairing. And finally, the back three. The best of the back three, I think, was actually Van der Merwe, the one that maybe we were a bit most worried about. And unsurprisingly, they targeted him with high kicks, but he passed the test and he grew into the game, started to dominate, I thought, the game, dominate Colby a bit as well. Definite starter for me. Keep him going, keep his confidence high. He's a handful when he carries that ball. Anthony Watson was living off scraps. He still looked dangerous living off scraps, but certainly didn't get the ball a lot. Got in a bit of problems with kicks in behind his wing for sure, and you could swap him for Adams. That's a possibility. It's close, but again, not a shocker. I think you need to get the ball in his hands a bit more. I want to retain that back three familiarity, so he stays for now. Adams certainly close. Same with Hogg. Not his best game. Some errors. Could you swap him for Williams? Maybe, but we didn't really see a lot of Williams either. I just want to keep that back three together. I think they're going to get a lot better as the team are in general. And Hogg actually was largely at fault for when they shoveled that ball on and nearly gave the game away with a try. So, he just slung a ball wide when he didn't need to, deep in their own half. Nearly gave the try to South Africa. But anyway, a little lucky potentially for Watson and Hogg, but I think retain them, keep the familiarity. Williams can stay on the bench. So that is my team, guys. Let me know what you think. Which changes would you make? Which ones do you agree with? Love to know your opinions. Pop them in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.